Hello, Mary Queen. This is Adam Beacon, your Director of Music Ministries. Very excited as we are getting ready for our return to the church after our renovation. This evening we have a great treat. Mr. Rob Twist, who has been serving as our project manager for this, is going to give us kind of a walking tour of the renovated space. So glad to have you. If you have questions, feel free to place them in here. And then later today, at 6:30, we'll have dessert with Dan, which will feature Father Dan, obviously, and also Rob Twist answering any questions you might have. So I'm going to turn it over to Rob. He's going to walk us through some of the design features and other wonderful aspects of this phenomenal renovation project. So welcome, Rob Twist.
Okay, thank you, Adam. I'm going to take off my mask just while we do this so my glasses don't fog so badly. But this is the gathering area, and if you recall, just a few months ago, this had 5 different colors of tile on the floor. We're now down to 1. This is a gray tile. It's got a honed finish. It's the same color that you'll see on the altar in a few minutes. The reason it's honed is it's a little bit less, it's less slippery. So as people come in from the rain or from the winter with wet feet, it should be much safer and let you walk into the church safely. It's got a nice herringbone pattern here. Really, in this space, this is the primary thing that's been done. We've refinished the doors. I'll say repaired the doors is probably a better term for it. If you remember, the doors had several chunks taken out of them. Some of them had carts banged against them and so on, and I still have some more of those to do, but these here in the gathering area have been completed, and they look much nicer. The whole idea is the doors shouldn't have white spots on them where the veneer has been peeled off. So we can kind of walk into the main assembly area of the church from here. This same tile flows into the baptismal area, baptismal font area, where we have changed the color scheme for the church. The color scheme for the church really came from the stained glass window. If you look up at the stained glass window, we have primary colors up in there of blues and grays. Those are the colors that were something that was reasonable to base our color scheme on. The oranges and the reds and the yellows probably aren't the best colors for the primary colors in the church. So as you look through here, everything is blues and grays. Even the baptismal font here has had the spillway replaced with blue. So we tried to eliminate all the old green so that everything was consistent as we go through the entire building. Kind of coming around here, you can see the carpet. Previously was green, is now blues and grays. The carpet is carpet squares, so if we do get candle wax on it at Christmas time or somebody spills something on it, a 2x2 square can be pulled out and replaced, and we won't have stains forever and ever like we did with the carpet that stretched from wall to wall. Underneath the pews is a vinyl, it's an interlocking vinyl tile. It's a high-end commercial grade tile that should stand up to pretty much anything that we put on it. Much easier to clean. We can sweep next to the edges as opposed to trying to get in there to clean the carpet next to the edges of the pews. And you'll also notice that we have new pews. The old pews were a particle board with oak veneer on them, and we had several maintenance issues with them, from kneelers breaking to some of the veneer was starting to separate. The fabric on the seats of the old pews was in many cases stained. It had holes in it. There was one spot over here to the left where somebody had tried to, I think, get candle wax off with an iron, and the iron had melted into the seats. There was, we spent a lot of time thinking about what was the best thing to do, and ultimately decided for new pews because the cost to repair the old ones was about 80% of what new pews would cost. So these are new pews, solid oak, should last literally for 100 years, and we can refinish these every 10, 20 years, whatever's needed in order to keep them looking really nice, whereas the veneer product is very difficult to refinish very many times. All the layout is pretty much the same as what it was, with the exception of the back row, where we've made a real concerted effort to try to make the church more accessible. So the back row has an extra space between the last row and the next to the last row. There's room for, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 8 or 10 people on each side here of the two middle sections. And you'll notice that the back pew has armrests on it, which helps somebody that has difficulty standing up to get back up. There's enough room in there to walk in the back row with a walker, to sit down, to have your walker in front of you, and then when communion time comes, for the Eucharistic minister to walk in front of the people in the back row and deliver communion, whereas in the past it was cumbersome, if anything, for anybody that needed some help getting communion while sitting within a pew. We've also added these small aisles down about 6 rows in each of the sections. The last row of pews in the church was about 35 feet long. The pews in the front were about 8 feet, 35 feet in the back. And for the most part, nobody sat in the middle of those big, long back pews. So this gives more access for anybody to get in and make better use of the middle sections of the pews. There's also interspersed on the back row space to add chairs, and we've bought some chairs that have a higher seat than the normal pew, so somebody that has difficulty standing up starts from a higher position, and it makes it easier for them to stand from the chair that they're in. Really tried to invite everybody into the church, and they're not there right now, but the front row is actually going to be a row of chairs and one wheelchair spot. So those are not in the church yet, but gives us a lot of flexibility in the front of the church for people with disabilities, or if we need more room for a program that's going on up front, we can take the chairs out and do something different than just the normal pew. If you want to take a walk up towards the front, Adam, the altar area, if you recall in the past, had green carpet going up the stairs, and then we had 2 different colors of tile, the brown and the tan, on the altar itself. The stairs now are, and the altar itself are the same tile as what we saw in the gathering area, so the color's common, and it's a polished tile, so you can see that it's much shinier than the tile that we saw out in the gathering area. And we've still got, you can see, a lot of cleaning to do in here before this weekend, and a little bit of touch-up painting. You can kind of see the ladders that have been around. The music area is dramatically different than it was in the past. We've put some new wires in for the new audio system that Adam has been working on, and it's configured slightly differently. I didn't mention as we came in, but we have new speakers in the soffits up above us here. One of the things that you used to see as you walked into the church was the big brown speakers. They were about 3 feet square, and as you walked in, you could see very clearly the 3 of them. Now you see these white speakers, but they're very blended into the background. We tried, as we did this design, to think of the things that we wanted to focus on, which was the front of the church, the altar, the stained glass, the crucifix, and so on. And we were trying to avoid looking at anything that didn't add to the experience of being in the church, such as wire mold and speakers and kind of support things that we really didn't want to focus on. And that's really most of what we've got in here, Adam. Want to head back towards the gathering area?
Sure.
We can walk back that way.
If you have questions, feel free to type them in. We won't address them during this live part of what we're doing, but we will be able to answer those during Dessert with Dan, which will occur at 6:30 this evening. We want to make sure that everyone can be aware of all the aspects and have as much transparency as possible. And we're extremely thankful for Rob and all his work on this project so far.
Thank you. Maybe, Adam, if you could get one more shot as I was talking about those speakers. I meant to do that as you came in, but kind of look at the soffit up there where you don't see the big brown speakers anymore. And you do see the stained glass and the crucifix. And by Sunday, we'll take the ladder out too. And as we go out through the gathering area, all the ancillary rooms, the coat room, the chapel, the reconciliation chapel, and the vesting sacristy have all had new carpet and new paint. So, get a good look at all that. Still needs to be cleaned, you can see. that we're about 95% done with everything that we're doing, and most of what's yet to be done is cleaning and a little bit of touch-up painting. Pretty much everything else is complete. We can walk this way and have a look in the library. The library's had a good facelift in here. We've got new carpet, new paint, new cabinets, new backsplash. If you remember when we started this, one of the reasons why we painted this was we had actually 4 different colors of wood trim color in here. The woodwork, the book cabinets, the cabinets by the sink, and the doors were all slightly different colors of wood. So that was the decision to paint it out, kind of a more modern look on the bookshelves with the blue background and the white front. And this should be a very inviting space. And just last week, we got a wonderful donation for some new furniture in here. So that should be coming within the next 30 days. And that's the reason why we haven't brought any of the old furniture back in here yet. So this will be a very nice space here in another 30 days. It's actually nice now, but getting there. The information area has new cabinets. The cabinets here were kind of that green color, and we contemplated recovering them, but the cabinet maker convinced us that new cabinets were about the same price as recovering them, and this way we get something that fits. We got new counters here, and we're ready for whatever we decide to put in here. Now we're making our way into the classroom wing, where we've painted the hall, including the Habitat logo. We've got new flooring and new cove base. In this area, we've fixed, I think, all the ceiling tiles that had stains or were broken for whatever reason. As we take a walk into the classrooms here, grab that other light so they can see better. The classrooms were top to bottom fixed. If you remember being in here for any meetings, the ceiling was pretty beat up with everything from stains in the ceiling to broken tiles. And so a group of volunteers actually changed all the ceiling tiles out to save some money, and the only cost was the cost of the tiles. Then all the rooms were painted, all the floors are new. This is a what they call luxury vinyl tile. It comes in about 4-foot lengths that are, I think they're 8 inches wide. So it's gray in the classrooms, and it's kind of an off-white in the aisleway. Both classrooms look pretty much the same. And we've done our best to try to clean out some of the things that have collected in there that were gathering dust for a long time. Still got some work to do in the getting rid of the building materials here. This classroom is the same thing. Again, all paint, ceiling, and floor, which seems simple, but it's a lot to get done in a short period of time. Now we can take a walk across to the music room. And we've got new carpet on the floor in here. We've replaced the ceiling tiles that were damaged and new paint. So pretty much every concrete block wall in the building that had been painted before has been repainted, all in one consistent color. The flooring is a combination of vinyl tile, ceramic tile, and this blue-gray carpet. Everything in shades of blue and gray. All the door frames have been repainted to a consistent color of gray. All the little pieces that didn't quite match, we tried to go through and pick up on things that should have been done as maintenance projects over the years or got missed somehow, and fix them all so it looks like a new building in here. And we're real pleased with how everything came out. We've got, like I said, 95% of it done. Cleaning is the biggest thing to be done going forward. A little bit of touch-up painting, putting some things away that still need to be put away. And there are a few little, I guess, punch list items that we need to get through that will be done over the next couple of weeks. But like I said, we're 95% done, and look forward to seeing everybody here this weekend.
Wonderful. Rob, just a phenomenal job. I've been so impressed working with you on this project, your attentiveness to the detail, and we have some comments just of many appreciative parishioners for your efforts. This a project of this magnitude would not have happened as well or as smoothly as this has gone, and thank you so much from myself on behalf of Mary Queen staff and parishioners. Just you've been a treasure, so thank you.
Well, thank you. I've actually had a good time doing it. It's been very rewarding and gotten to know a lot of people, gotten to know the designer and contractors, as well as a whole lot of parishioners that have helped with the various projects. As I mentioned, the ceiling tile was done by a number of people on the facilities committee and the Knights of Columbus. The Knights of Columbus have been wonderful in terms of unloading all these classrooms. It's amazing how much furniture was in here that really had to be removed from the rooms before we did the construction and then brought back in. And without everybody's help, it wouldn't have happened. So thank you to everybody that was involved.
Yeah. And thanks to those of you who've asked questions. We will address those during Dessert with Dan here in just a few minutes. And if you have any other questions about this or other aspects of the parish, just be ready to ask them at Dessert with Dan in just a couple minutes at 6:30. Thank you all for joining in, and I hope that you enjoyed this tour of our renovated church.